Hi, I am Dr. Sharon Gainforth, and today we are talking about one of my all time favorite topics, and that is play. Supporting play, interaction, and social connection. You see, play is not extra, play is essential for children. Early in my career as a speech language pathologist, I discovered that play and toys were the tools of my trade. When I chose this profession, I did not know that. And honestly, I loved it. I remember thinking, what kind of incredible job is this where I get paid to play? Not only did I get to play, I got to play with children, and even meaning and more meaningfully, I got to support children with autism. I got to see them engage, hear the first words, all through play. I was always on the hunt for those pizzazz toys. The ones that catch the attention of our kids with autism. In fact, I was on the hunt for these pizzazz toys, so much so that I started my own toy company. Why? I wanted awesome toys for kids with autism. That season of my life truly was fun. I got to go to toy shows in New York City and Toronto, where I was surrounded by the newest toys, hot off the press. Absolutely incredible. What my career taught me is that play is not a distraction from development. It is the pathway to development. Let me say that again. Play is not a distraction from development. It is the pathway to development. If you were to sneak a peek into my intervention sessions, you may have wondered, when is Sharon going to start working? It just looks like she's playing, laughing, and having fun. But if you stayed long enough to take a look at my session outcomes, you would see listed the number of times the child engaged, the new words that were said, the language use that was expanded, and on and on. Because when you think about it, many of us were taught that play really is just something extra, something fun, something children do when the real learning is done. But for children, play is learning. You see, it's through play is the foundation stone for joint attention. Joint attention is when two people share attention, share the same thing together. And why does this matter? It matters because joint attention is one of the earliest building blocks for communication, for learning from others, and social connections. One of my favorite examples of joint attention through play is bubbles. Don't we just all love bubbles? Now they have incredible bubble machines and all kinds of cool things with bubbles. But just the plain old simple bubble wand. We blow bubbles. Our kids love it. Initially, you're blowing the bubbles and your little one may not be focused on you at all. In fact, your little one may be focused on the bubbles, the movement, the excitement, or the sensory joy. So you blow more bubbles. And perhaps, pop, pop, pop. And you say that, and your child laughs. Maybe he jumps, maybe he flaps, maybe he chases the bubbles. At first, it may seem like they're simply just enjoying the bubbles, which is fun. But then something magical happens. Your child stops. He looks at the bubbles and then he looks back at you. Bubbles and then back to you. That moment, that is joint attention. Your child is beginning to understand that you and I are sharing the same experience together. Maybe he smiles or gestures, or maybe he hands you the bubble wand, or maybe he silently waits with anticipation. So there it is. Without demanding words, without flashcards, without pressure, your child is learning shared focus, anticipation, reciprocity, that give and take, communication, and social connection. Who knew that a $2 bottle of bubbles could do so much heavy developmental lifting? Who knew? So play develops joint attention, and it also develops turn taking. Turn taking, a simple act of throwing a ball back and forth or driving a car back and forth. Why is turn taking so important? Turn taking supports communication. Think about conversations. I talk, you talk. I talk, you talk. Usually there's a give and take. It's almost like there's a game going on. There's turns. Well, typically there's turns. We all have that friend that forgets about turn taking. But nevertheless, turn taking supports communication, interaction, because we're going back and forth, patience, because they have to wait for a turn. Once again, shared attention, flexibility, anticipation, that social connection, shared control, and group participation. Turn taking is so important. So play supports joint attention, turn taking, and also emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is how we help our brains and bodies handle those big feelings. It's the ability to feel emotions without becoming completely overwhelmed by them. Emotional regulation is important for learning. We have to be regulated in order to learn. It's important for social engagement, resilience, flexibility. You see, play can help children experience and practice regulation in manageable ways. Well, actually, if you were to come to my house on a games night with my adult kids, relatives, and friends, you would quickly observe that we are still learning how to practice emotional regulation. Have you ever played the crazy game of spoons? Okay, moving on. I cannot divulge family secrets. That would not be good. Okay, back to the kids. Play develops, it's important for joint attention, turn taking, emotional regulation, and problem solving. Problem solving is the ability to figure out what to do when something is difficult, unexpected, or just not going the way that you'd hoped. It's learning to think through challenges instead of getting stuck in them. Or simply stated, it's the ability to pause, think, and try another way. How many times in one day do we, as adults, engage in problem solving? Well, we learn to problem solve through play as a child. Think about like this is a game where it has all these different pieces and they sort of represent animals. And you're supposed to stack them, but they really are different. So a child has to learn, okay, well, I might put that here. Oh, actually, that worked. But no, I couldn't get another piece and hold those together. So now I have to pause, think, and try another way. Maybe I just won't hold them in the air. Maybe I'll sit them on the table and go from there. All kinds of problem solving happens through play, which is so important to learn once you get to be an adult. You know, there was this one time that I was at a family's house and I was working with this little guy. And when I arrived, what was happening is he was deeply invested in building his magnificent block tower. This was serious business to him. We're not talking about a casual stack. We're talking architectural brilliance, emotional investment, and possibly the tallest tower in recorded family history. Uh-oh. But nearby, his toddler sister approached. And every older sibling knows exactly what that means. Doo-doo, doo-doo, incoming danger. Tiny hands, big enthusiasm, zero respect for structural integrity. She's ready. One swipe and the tower would become rubble. Now, here's where the magic happened. Instead of panicking, instead of yelling, instead of physically guarding the tower like a medieval knight, he pauses. You could almost see him thinking. And then he scans the room and he spots it. Her absolute favorite toy. He grabs it. And then he offers it to his little sister like a peace treaty. And just like that, she happily redirects. Crisis avoided, tower saved, Big Brother resumes building, victorious. What did I see in that was so brilliant? Without a worksheet, without adult intervention, without formal social skills training, this little guy used problem solving, planning, perspective taking, emotional regulation, negotiation, and flexible thinking. You see, sometimes social development looks less like forced sharing and more like strategic, toy-based peace negotiations. So, what have we reviewed? Play is important for joint attention, turn taking, emotional regulation, problem solving, and something that we can't forget, and one that I love as a speech language pathologist, it's through play that language grows. Think about it. Play is chock full of natural opportunities for meaningful connection. You might be playing with animals. You're saying, oh, zebra. Oh, zebra's hungry. He's going to try to sit on the chair. Too big. Doesn't fit. All kinds of language just naturally happens through play. Children learn vocabulary. They learn gestures. They learn how to comment. Too big. Learn how to request. I'm really hungry. Can I have some food? They learn about storytelling and conversational reciprocity. Play, chock full of language opportunities. So play is important for joint attention, turn taking, emotional regulation, problem solving, language growth, and shared joy. Shared joy is often one of the most powerful developmental experiences. Through playful connections, children experience emotional bonding. They experience trust and safety, motivation, and social reward, important for social skills. Just think about the bonds that happen when you're laughing together during a silly game. I was just out with a friend and she's 84, and she was telling me about her childhood friend who, even at 84, even though they live in different parts of Canada, every summer they get together and laugh and talk and relive history together. Why? Because they had all of those elementary years, middle school years, high school years, being together and having that shared joy, which formed that bond that even at 84 has lasted them through all of those years. So play is important for joint attention, turn taking, emotional regulation, problem solving, language growth, shared joy, and naturally what comes out of that, and very importantly for social skills, is friendship skills flows from that. Many social abilities begin long before formal friendships because play helps children practice the ability to notice their peers, to notice what they're doing, to figure out how to join in the activities, how to negotiate, cooperate, how do I be flexible, and understand others' perspectives. Play is so important.